Hello kids, tonight's story is The Banyan Deer. Long ago, in a beautiful forest, there lived a magnificent golden deer. He was not an ordinary deer. His coat shone like gold in the morning sunlight, and his eyes were gentle and wise. He was the leader of a large herd of deer. The deer lived peacefully beneath the trees, eating fresh grass and drinking from a clear stream that flowed through the forest. The golden deer was known as the banyan deer because he lived near a huge banyan tree with spreading branches that provided shade for his herd. He loved all the deer in his herd and always looked after them. But one day a great danger came to the forest. A powerful king ruled the nearby kingdom. He loved eating venison. The king and his men went into the forest to hunt deer. The deer were terrified. Whenever they heard the sound of hunters approaching, they ran in every direction. Some were caught. Others were injured while trying to escape. The banyan deer felt very sad. One day he gathered all the deer around him. "We cannot continue living in fear," he said. "Let us find a way to prevent this suffering." After thinking carefully, the banyan deer went to the king. The king was surprised to see such a magnificent deer standing fearlessly before him. The banyan deer bowed respectfully and said, "Your Majesty, many deer are killed when your hunters chase us. The hunters also have to spend a great deal of time searching for us." The king listened carefully. The banyan deer continued, "Let the deer take turns. Each day, one deer will come to your place willingly. In this way, you will receive one deer each day, and the others can live peacefully without being hunted." The king thought about the proposal. Finally, he agreed. From that day onward, the deer lived without the constant fear of hunters. Each morning, one deer was chosen. That deer would sadly leave the herd and go to the king. Other deer would remain safely in the forest. Although the arrangement was sad, at least the deer no longer had to run for their lives. One morning, the turn came to a pregnant doe. He looked at the unborn fawn and became frightened. She went to the elder of the herd. "Great deer king," she said, "I am carrying a little fawn. If I go today, both my life and the life of my unborn baby will be lost." She bowed her head and continued, "Please allow me to wait until my fawn is born. Then I will take my turn." The deer who had been chosen before her had already refused to help. The poor doe did not know what to do. Then she went to the banyan deer. She explained her situation. Banyan Deer looked at her with compassion. He knew that the agreement had been made so that every deer would take its turn. But he also knew that the little fawn had done nothing wrong. He thought for a moment. Then he said, "Don't be afraid. You and your little one will be safe." The doe looked up in surprise. "But what will happen?" The banyan deer smiled gently. "I will go in your place." The doe was shocked. "No, my king, you are our leader. You should not have to die for me. But the Banyan Deer replied, a leader must protect those who depend on him. I cannot allow two lives to be lost when one can be saved. And so the golden deer left the forest. He walked alone towards the place where the king and his men were waiting. When the king saw the banyan deer approaching, he was astonished. You are the leader of the herd, he exclaimed. Why have you come here? The banyan deer bowed his head. Your Majesty, today it was the turn of a pregnant doe. She was carrying an unborn fawn. I have to come in her place. The king stared at him. You could have stayed safely in the forest, he said. Why did you choose to come here? The banyan deer answered. She has a life inside her. If she dies today, her little one will also die. I could not allow two lives to be lost when I could give my own life instead. The king was deeply moved. He had hunted many deer, but he had never seen such courage and compassion. He lowered his weapon. Golden deer, he said, I have never heard such noble words from an animal or a human being. The king thought for a while. Then he said, Today I will spare your life. The banyan deer looked at the king gratefully. But then he asked, What about the pregnant doe? She will also be safe, replied the king. And what about the other deer? The king smiled. Your entire herd will be safe. The banyan deer bowed again. Then he asked, What about the other animals of the forest? The king thought about the question. Finally he said, From this day onward, no animal in my kingdom shall be hunted. The banyan deer was filled with happiness. He returned to the forest and told the other animals that the king had promised them safety. The animals rejoiced. From that day onward, the forest became a peaceful place again. The deer could walk through the trees without fear. The birds sang freely. The animals drank from the stream peacefully. And beneath the great banyan tree, the golden deer continued to watch over his herd. He had shown that true greatness does not come from strength, power, or wealth. It comes from kindness, courage, and compassion for others. Moral of the story is a true leader protects those who depend on him. And sometimes one act of kindness can change the lives of many. So, dear children, whenever you have a chance to help someone who is in need, remember the banyan deer. Be kind, be brave, and care for others. If you like this story, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.